Hey, what's up everyone, and welcome to another reaction video for today. And I'm here to take a look at a brand new Critical Drinker video. This is all about that Queen Cleopatra show that is, well, it's out. And I never watched the trailer for it. I was planning on it considering everybody was talking crap about it. I just never did. But I have watched a video about it. I've only watched one. Surprisingly, I've only watched one video about it, and that was like back when the trailer came out. I haven't watched any other videos. I've had other videos suggested to me. I bet right after this video is over, there's gonna be like 5 or 6 videos suggested to me, because I swear to God, every time I watch a video, there's at least one like, this Cleopatra show, the actor said this or that. So I haven't watched a lot of that stuff. So hey, Critical Drinker coming in with this video, Cleopatra, the most hated show of all time. I mean, I'm 1%. Damn, that's pretty bad. 11% critic rating, and then 1%, a bunch of ones. That must mean it's #1 on Netflix. I bet it is actually, but I don't know if that's because if that's for a good reason. It's not. It's definitely not. But yeah, I've heard of the show. I haven't really kept up with it, so I'm here to listen to Critical Drinker talk about it. Maybe he'll recap it a little bit. Anyway, so let's get to it. Link in the description. Go watch yourself. 3, 2, 1, and play.
We live in a divided world, dear viewer. It seems like even the most innocuous subjects or the most fundamental aspects of reality are now subject to constant debate and contention.
I was
and
expecting
nowhere
Bright
is that
to show
division more obvious than in the world of media, where every new movie and TV show becomes a battleground between war and factions, each determined...
Remember when movies were just movies? That was nice. And shows, same thing. This is a show, obviously. Yeah, even video games at times has become like just a battleground for maybe not like diversity or whatever. It's, you know, like, oh, Redfall's bad because 30 frames, but the new Zelda game is good because 30 frames. I'm like, I saw some tweets like that. I'm like, don't be a fucking idiot. I know I'm wearing a Sony shirt, but I got an Xbox. Look at this Unity. The only reason why I've never found an Xbox shirt that was like super cheap. That's the only reason why I have the PlayStation shirt, is because I found them at GameStop for $5. But whatever, anyway.
To prove that they're
try not to
in the
pause too
right.
much.
But sometimes, just sometimes, a project comes along that's so monumentally, epically, and comprehensively terrible that it manages to unite the entire world in absolute contempt. It happened before with Santa Inc., a theoretical
I forgot about that show.
Talentless, mean-spirited hacks posing as comedians who haven't actually produced
My
anything
favorite Donkey
remotely
Kong
funny
voice
in
actor.
more than a decade, which tried to use feminism and identity politics to attack the literal personification of goodwill and generosity at Christmas time, no less.
It's a bold strategy, Cotton. Let's see if it pays off for him.
And it's
That's like Jesus Bateman's best role.
seems to be happening again with the release of Queen Cleopatra, a Netflix documentary series produced by one of the least popular actresses in Hollywood.
Forgot.
And that's saying something, believe me, centered
Probably not as unpopular as Amber Heard. But
around female African rulers throughout history. I mean, calling it a documentary is a bit like calling Inglourious Bastards a historically accurate depiction of World War II, but don't worry, we'll get back.
To be fair though, Glorious Bastards is more of like it's more positive though, in a way, if you think about it. Like, hey, that movie is like a small wish fulfillment. It's not like a massive wish fulfillment. If it was like massive wish fulfillment, then there would be no World War II and Nazis wouldn't exist. That would be the wish fulfillment. But a small one, hey, we got to murder Hitler horribly. He got that shit. That's not even a closed casket. That's a baggie. Like, it's getting his face shot off in a burning down theater. Was it Eli Roth that was doing it too? I think it was. I bet that was wish fulfillment for Eli Roth. Anyway, I have to see that movie again. And also the same thing with Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Like that one, hey, Quentin Tarantino loves his fairy tale wish fulfillment. That's for sure. I love it. Even Django Unchained in a way, kind of.
Soon enough, believe that. Anyway, the show kicked up a firestorm of controversy.
I thought that
backlash, earned itself the lowest rating.
I thought that was the Jamie Lannister actor
that I've ever personally seen on Rotten Tomatoes.
I know his name, but I can never pronounce it. Oh, 1%
And
is
even
pretty.
managed to get itself sued.
Oh, yeah, I heard
on
about
behalf
that
of
too.
the entire country of Egypt. Damn, man, this
Damn.
thing's about as popular as the salad bar at Lizzo's birthday party. So why are people so
God
fucking
damn.
mad about this thing
All right.
anyway? Well, the main criticism centers around the recasting.
I've heard the
of
show is actually
Cleopatra.
terrible too, like legitimate.
Sorry, reimagining. Because I guess that's what we call it now when we blatantly try to rewrite verified historical facts.
Now, would it be that big of a problem if they... I mean, it would still be a big problem. Definitely. But would it be as big of a problem as it is now if they didn't also advertise it as a fucking documentary? Like, at first I thought, like, I didn't watch the trailer, but I saw snippets of in the one video I watched. I forgot who it was that I watched it from. They showed snippets of the trailer. And it seemed like it was documentary in style, but then there was a lot of reenactment stuff. I'm assuming it's just gonna be like, there's some scenes where she's talking or whatever, and then a voiceover comes in and says like, then Cleopatra did that or whatever. But I don't know.
To our own 21st century narrative and gaslight
It would still be
anyone
a
who calls
problem
us
either
out
way.
on our bullshit as hateful bigots. Kind of like how the Woman King tried to reimagine a brutal
Yeah, I heard about that
expansionist
too.
military
Yeah.
dictatorship who massacred entire communities and happily sold their own people into slavery as a progressive and enlightened society to be cherished and protected, and a unit of female war.
Like, why even, like, they should have just made it up their own, like just a different like tribe or something like that. Why did they have to pick one that was like easily you can look up and find out that they were actually not the hero? And that's fine if you want to make a movie about that. That's fine, but like, I'm assuming that movie made them look positive. I didn't see it. I was actually going to see it because I thought I didn't know anything about the tribe or whatever. I just thought the movie looked like it could have been a fun little action movie. You know, I like Viola Davis, but
Warriors who once lost more than 500 troops to kill a grand total of 6 French soldiers as an elite fighting force that would make the Avengers shit themselves in absolute terror.
Jesus, I love this clip. He always
I think I can smell
shite.
You know, it's always funny watching
Oh, like
Hollywood
that.
activists combing the pages of history in search of some hidden truth that'll finally validate all their long-standing biases and personal hang-ups. And when they inevitably come up short, just kind of throwing up their hands and saying, fuck it, we'll just make it up instead. Sorry, reimagine it. The thing is, works of historical fiction
Like 6-7 years later, people still use that clip.
like The Woman King or Braveheart or 300 generally get cut a bit of slack because, well, the clue's in the name. They're works of fiction. Yeah, fiction.
Sure, yeah, they're movies. This is supposed to be a documentary.
On real events,
Yeah.
very loosely in some cases, but fiction all the same. I'm not a huge fan of it myself because I know how many people can be misled by stuff like this, but hey, I also wasn't born yesterday. Real history is often muddy and complex and doesn't deliver the big, satisfying emotional payoffs that people expect from movies. Telling compelling stories that people want to see sometimes means bending and embellishing the truth.
So yeah, this looks like just a straight up show right now. I'm so confused. Where's the documentary aspect if it's just a show?
Documentaries are a very different beast.
It must be what I said. It's like the narration will come in. Then Cleopatra, I don't know, twerked or some shit.
Because the whole point is to give the audience an accurate and
Then she
unbiased insight into real events, backed up by
I don't know. I don't know anything about Cleopatra. I can't even like come up with something she would do. And then she did something in Egypt. I think the most I know about Cleopatra is I once watched the Elizabeth Taylor movie, which I'm sure people are using that as an excuse for why this one should be okay. Even though I think even at the time some people had a problem with that, and now people still obviously if you're using that as an example of, well, why is this okay and this isn't, then obviously you have a problem with it. So obviously it's not okay. You know what I mean? Like that was also what did that movie come out 60-something years ago? Not saying it was okay back then, but that movie came out 60-something years ago. Like, there's been a lot of time to just process that movie exists and that casting was not the right, you know what I mean? Like, what we're supposed to be talking about still 60 years later? Like, I don't know. I don't even think that movie's all that great, honestly. Like, I remember watching it once, and I think I want to say I watched it in school. I want to say I did. Which I think the movie's pretty long, so we must have watched it in... Anyway, it was a huge budgeted movie and it was a huge flop at the time. So, and I don't even think it's all that great. So, anyway, who gives a shit? It's not even good. Just like this.
Facts and evidence from eyewitnesses and experts in the relevant fields.
But at least that movie wasn't like, yeah, Cleopatra's white, fuckers, you know? At least I'm assuming. Maybe they did. Maybe it did. I don't remember the movie that much.
Their very purpose is to separate fact from fiction and delve deeper into the actual reality behind the myths and commonly held beliefs. And that's where Cleopatra runs into a spot of trouble, because the whole motivation of this show seems to be the exact opposite. It's there to bend and distort reality, to turn her into something she absolutely wasn't, in order to fit the narrative of the showrunners. See, the stated
So it's
goal
not
of
really
the
there to
African
even tell a true story. It's just there so they could go, "Ooh, she's black.
Queen's
Fuck you if you don't agree.
series is to shed
You're racist if you don't agree, Egypt."
light on important black female rulers throughout history, unknown and overlooked people who actually had a big impact on the world.
I was thinking that too. There must be a lot of other stories they could have told about queens that were actually black. Like, is this the first version of this, the African queens thing? If it is, and they immediately came, there must have been another one. Wait, maybe, all right.
Producer Jada Pinkett Smith said, "We don't often get to see or hear stories about black queens,
And we
and
still
that was
aren't.
really important
Thanks.
for me, as well as for my daughter, and just for the community to be able to know those stories, because there's tons of them."
Yeah, oh, there's tons of them, huh?
Fair play, Jada. I can totally get behind that.
Where are they?
After all, there's plenty of historical people and events that haven't had the mainstream attention that they deserve. The problem I suspect they ran into with this one is that female rulers of organised nation-states in sub-Saharan Africa that had a major and lasting impact on world history are probably a bit thin on the grounds. And rather than dig deeper to find more obscure figures
They
that
went
might not
for
have
someone
mainstream
big
appeal,
and
they
just
just
turned them
decided,
black.
fuck it, we'll just take Cleopatra and make her ours now.
It's just so weird. It's like such a weird move. In a way, that's. I want to say that's just really. I don't know if I want to say racist. It's just really fucked up that to both Egyptians and I guess Greeks too, because wasn't she Greek? It's just offensive to a lot of people. It's just like because like you could have done a queen that was unknown or like lesser known. And really like, oh, but because you were like too worried that nobody was gonna watch it, you just made up that Cleopatra's black, which all evidence suggests she's not. And so you could tell stories about queens that are often not told, even though Cleopatra has been told a lot in the past. Wasn't Gal Gadot gonna be or Gadot, however you pronounce her name? Wasn't she gonna be Cleopatra in a movie? I don't think that movie's ever gonna happen. I want to say it was the Wonder Woman director. Oh no, I forgot her name. Sorry, she's a good Wonder Woman, not the second one though. And Monster, that was a very good movie. Yeah, fuck it. Fuck.
Because everyone knows about Cleopatra, right?
My favorite line.
She's the kind of name that will bring your series a lot of
Fuck.
attention, and if you can somehow convince enough people that she was actually black all along, then you'll earn yourself a lot of praise from your big friends in Hollywood. Because after all, how do we really know what Cleopatra looked like? It's not like her Macedonian Greek heritage was a well-documented matter of verified historical record, or that we have countless portraits, statues, busts, friezes, and
look how white the bust is.
even coins with her face on them, all depicting her with classical Greek facial features.
No.
Oh, wait.
No.
But hey, maybe they've got some awesome
black.
new evidence
Fuck you.
that's just come to light.
How dare
or
you,
compelling
racist scum.
testimony from respected
She looks like Edna Mode if she was like she was taller.
figures in their fields.
I think it's just a haircut.
I imagine her to have curly hair like me and a similar skin colour.
I remember my grandmother saying to
Oh,
me,
this is the clip, yeah.
I don't care what they tell you in school, Cleopatra was black.
Well, if you're
Whoa, what fucking evidence like that? I mean, your grandma said it. I mean, that must have been like back in the 1700s because you look fucking old as shit too. So.
you know, old Gran reckons that a Ptolemaic ruler born thousands of years
No, that's a joke.
before her
I know that math doesn't make sense.
lifetime was black, then I'm convinced.
I'm convinced. Some grandma I don't even know if never knew about before. That's a good pause, by the way. Fuck
can
it.
definitely
Smell
smell
the
shite.
But it really gives you an insight into the mindset of the showrunners on this one. The childly simplistic idea that if you choose to believe in something, then it just magically becomes the truth, even if all the evidence at your disposal says the exact opposite.
Right.
It's the same reason that I'm not actually 200 feet tall and made out of solid gold.
What?
Shit, man. Even the
No,
Egyptians...
just say you are. You're fine. And then you are. And anybody that says you aren't, well, actually, no. Critical Drink is white. You can't do this. Never mind.
Have gone to
Never
war
mind. You just shut up.
against this thing. The
Stop
head
talking.
of the Supreme Council for Antiquities, Mustafa Waziri, said that calling Cleopatra black would be a falsification of Egyptian history, and that Netflix is trying to stir up...
Again, would it be that big of a deal if they just made a Cleopatra show with all the facts involving like what she did, how she ruled, and all that stuff? But she was just played by a black actress. That's it, though. No one brought up that she was black. She's just the same character that she was as a person in real life that we know. I mean, it would still be, like, weird, but it wouldn't be as big of a problem as if they made this a documentary, and they made the documentary, obviously, scenes in the documentary. I'm assuming a big part of it is about how, no, she's black. She is black. Like I just don't understand. Especially when there's other... Whatever.
Fusion to spread false information that the origin of Egyptian civilization is black. See, that's the problem with trying to appropriate an actual documented historical figure and pass off your bullshit wish fulfillment fantasy as a legit, unbiased documentary. You really have to provide receipts to back it up. And if the best you can come up with is, my gran told me to believe a comforting lie to make me feel better about myself, then funnily enough, people are going to...
My grandma told me Santa Claus existed too, so I guess Santa Inc. that's a documentary too.
push back against it. So how do you think the showrunners reacted to this backlash? Did they take this criticism on the chin, acknowledge the complaints, and apologise for any offence caused?
No.
You serious? Well, not really, no. Why shouldn't Cleopatra be a melanated sister? Series director Tina Garabi
I didn't hear that
asked.
fucking quote.
And why do some people need Cleopatra to be white?
No one said she needs to be white. Did anybody say that? I'm sure someone said it, but there's no way that's the majority.
Proximity to whiteness seems to give her value, and for some Egyptians, it seems to really matter.
You making her black gives her value to you. What the fuck? Obviously, that's why you made her, and then you made the whole fucking documentary like, she's black, I don't care.
No kidding, Tina. I suspect it
That
does
makes
matter that you're
sense.
trying to rewrite their own history for them and project...
You know what? White Martin Luther King. It's coming. If Netflix did that, I would... I'd be like, I don't know. I don't even know what to do. Like, I don't know. I don't know what's happening in this world anymore.
21st century
Netflix would never do that.
American ideals
They'd make like another one of these, I'm sure, but
onto something
like African queens, and it's I don't know, the who was the queen that just died in England? Elizabeth. Yeah, there you go. Make her black. Oh my god! I would actually, if they just wanted to troll people, I'd be like, "Fuck it, dude." I would love to see more backlash. Oh, it makes me laugh.
that you've got little or no understanding of. It's not just that I've directed a series that portrays Cleopatra as black, and that I've asked Egyptians to see themselves as Africans, and they're furious at me for that. I'm okay with this.
You're obviously not. If you're okay with this, you wouldn't be making quotes and shit talking about how.
Well, as long as you're okay.
I don't know what's a big deal. I don't know what's a big deal.
Okay with it, I guess that's just...
I know what's a big deal. I don't want to freaking out.
It's fine. Never mind that you've insulted the cultural heritage of more than 100 million Egyptians and turned pretty much the entire internet against you and your shitty projects. The only thing that truly matters is what you want.
You know what?
Makes...
In 100 years, someone's gonna make a Obama was white. Fully white, I should say. He was fully white. I don't care what you... I'm gonna make... I'm gonna make sure if I ever have a kid, hopefully that doesn't happen. And then he has a kid. I'm gonna tell my grandkid. I'm gonna be like the old lady in this. I'm telling my grandkid. I don't care what they say. Obama was white. I'm gonna keep saying that. So in 100 years, well, maybe not 100 years, but like 80 years or so, they'll be elderly and be like, I don't care what they tell you. Obama was white. Like this is like, dude, this is like 8K footage of Obama right there. Dude, he even shared his birth certificate with Optimus Prime Anybody remember that video? That was amazing. Anybody remember that when Trump said, "Oh yeah, I don't even believe you were born here." He's like, "Oh yeah, watch this shit." Bam! And then he had like Optimus Prime in the video and fucking Hulk Hogan, which that was probably a bad idea. In retrospect, it was Hulk Hogan's theme too, I think. And a bunch of other stuff. I want to say like GI Joe was in it. Everything like really American. Yeah. Anyway,
You happy.
that was a great moment in American history, though.
The truth that you choose to believe. I'm trying to think of a phrase that best sums up this kind of mindset.
Dude, that guy looks like fucking Jamie Lannister's. Maybe not right there. I don't know if it's the same actor.
I'm trying to think of a phrase that...
Right there, he looks like him, like... Right? Like, he looks like him in the last season of Game of Thrones.
Sums up this kind of mindset.
Sheer fucking hubris.
Okay.
Nah, I've got nothing.
So
was Cleopatra black? We don't know for sure, but we can be certain that she wasn't white like Elizabeth Taylor.
Yeah.
We need to have a conversation with ourselves about our colorism and the internalized white...
But people weren't... I'm sure they were okay with it, but people aren't okay with that now. Just nobody's talking about that fucking Cleopatra movie anymore. Like, it's been 60 years and it was a huge bomb at the time. In 60 years, no one's going to talk about this Netflix series. I assure you that. Unless they keep making sequels or some shit. I don't know. It's Queen Cleopatra 5. We ain't done yet.
Supremacy that Hollywood has indoctrinated us with. See, I can tell what you're trying to do here. You're trying to equate two very different things in order to deflect the entire question away from yourself.
Why can't they both equally be bad anyway? Even though it's not really, because one's a documentary, advertised as a documentary. The other one was this fucking movie that came out 60 years ago. Or maybe even longer. No, I think it was 6 years. I think that sounds about right. I think it was like early 60s, but
so
maybe it was... No, that sounds right.
What if my supposed documentary that claims to be based on hard scientific facts is actually wildly inaccurate nonsense with no basis in reality? This fictional movie that I saw from half a century ago was also wrong, so that makes it totally okay.
Yeah, exactly.
No, it doesn't.
I hate that.
John Wayne played...
This was fuck. This movie's awful. And also, the worst part about this Genghis Khan movie, is that it probably caused the deaths of almost everybody in the movie, because the way they filmed it, the place they filmed it, I want to say, was like, I think there was like radiation or something something happened in this area where almost everybody got cancer in like down the line in their lives. Like I want to say like 80% of the crew got cancer.
Genghis Khan in The Conqueror was also ridiculous Hollywood nonsense from
a different
era of filmmaking. But if you tried to make a factual documentary now claiming that Genghis Khan was actually a black man because we don't know for sure what he actually looked like, then you'd rightfully piss off the whole of Mongolia in the process. The point I'm making here is that nobody's buying the bullshit you're desperately trying to sell them, and you don't just get to use racism as a magical shield to deflect any criticism that comes your way. The fact is, you made something that you knew was a lie, that you tried to pass off as the truth, because you exist in the kind of bubble where everyone's fantasy becomes their own unique reality and nobody questions it, and so you just assume that the rest of the world thinks the same way. And when you got the hard reality check that you absolutely deserved, you fell back on the same tired excuses that get rolled out anytime a lazy race-swapped Hollywood production comes under fire. It didn't work back then, and it's certainly not going to work for you now. But hey, maybe Cleopatra can serve as a lesson for future generations of documentary makers, that what we want to be true is often very different from what's actually true, and if you can't deal with that, then maybe you shouldn't be making them in the first place.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's all I've got for today.
Go away now. Yeah, that was a very good video for TV that hates gamers. Or games? It's a gamers, like, yeah. Yeah, there you go. There you go. 1, 2. Wait, oh, that's his different thing. Oh, that's his after, okay. Just 2. Okay, I'm surprised. I thought it'd be more. Best or worst. Oh yeah, I've been listening to that, yeah. It's a Gundam. Okay. Okay. AI presence, okay. I was actually expecting it all to be man, fuck Cleopatra. Anyway, yeah, there you go. Yeah. So that was a good recap of events, though, and also his own opinion. Obviously, most of it was his own opinion. It's so weird. It's such a, like, they even have the quote where they say like, oh yeah, there's so many stories that haven't been told. the fuck? Why would you say that and then you just rewrite history? Like, it blows my mind. And I know there's gonna be so many people out there that are just like, no, I think I liked it or whatever, and that's fine, I guess. But I don't know. I've heard the show is really bad too. It's like soap opera levels. Like I read a couple of those reviews that were on Rotten Tomatoes because I was interested in that. Yeah, they weren't great, but yeah. Anyway, that's it. Yeah. Whatever. Bye.